Welcome back to From the Shed End with myself, T.Dot. As always, thank you very much for joining me. Now, before we get into the content, please go and subscribe to the channel. Let me know your thoughts in the comments as well. And make sure you hit that Linktree link in the description. That will take you to all our social accounts as well. Now, what a performance last night. What a brilliant performance. I have to say I did get it right. And if you go back to the previous video, the preview video, I did say that we can score 2 goals. Every player has to leave everything on that pitch. Even Graham Potter's assistant, even Graham Potter has to leave everything out on that pitch at Stamford Bridge. And exactly what they did was that they left everything out on the pitch. They worked, they dug deep as a team, they worked together. Listen, we've got so much to talk about, but the crowd, I want to give the crowd a massive shout out. I know Theo was there as well yesterday. What an atmosphere. What an atmosphere. You know, you could hear that there was a 12th man on that pitch last night, and that was the fans. And the fans done really well in terms of making sure that they were vocal, they were heard. Everything I said in the previous video, basically, make sure that the fans are heard, make sure that they're there, give the players the support that they need. This is a must-win game. Everything went right for us. But I do want to start with the lineup, because I thought, seeing the lineup, and before the game, I was very, very confident in terms of we were going to get a result. We were going to play well. And then I saw the lineup. The lineup threw me a little bit, I'll be honest. I looked and I seen obviously Kepa in goal, Reece James, Wesley Fofana, Koulibaly. Then I saw Cucurella as a left centre-back, who we know can play left centre-back. He's done that before for Brighton. But if you remember the last time he played left centre-back, he was all over the place. He was sixes and sevens. So I was a bit worried when I saw Cucurella as a left centre-back and then Chilwell as a left wing-back. Obviously, Enzo Fernandez, Mateo Kovacic in midfield. Then we had Raheem Sterling. We had Kai Havertz and João Felix on the left. So I was a bit nervous because I would have had João Felix or João Felix, as his pronunciation is correctly told us that's how you pronounce his name. João Felix, I would have had him as a false 9. And maybe I would have had Mudryk as a left-sided attacking midfielder, a winger. And I'll be honest, when I saw the lineup, I thought we're going to lose this game. He hasn't done what I said. He hasn't gone for the 3 midfield. He's gone for 3 at the back, the 3 centre-backs or the wing-backs. And I thought we're going to lose this game horribly as well. And this is going to be the end of Graham Potter. But I was proven wrong. Completely proven wrong. And for all the right reasons, and I'm so glad I was, because the 3 centre-backs, Koulibaly, Fofana and Cucurella, superb. They didn't put a foot wrong. Koulibaly, I've been screaming for Koulibaly to give us a Thiago Silva performance and play like a central defender, play like a defender that has the experience of playing at the top level in Serie A, coming to English football and proving yourself. And he done that last night. He made everything look comfortable. Him, Wesley Fofana and Cucurella, massive, player of the match for Cucurella. He deserves that. Brilliant performance from him. Reece James and Chilwell and Kepa as well. Kepa pulling off some brilliant saves. There was a free kick, I think it was Marco Reus. What a save, because that is going in. He pulled off 2 good saves, Kepa, in the first half. And I thought, this is how we need to play week in, week out. We really need to play week in, week out. But I like this. But as the game started, I thought, we're doing exactly what we need to do. We took the game to Dortmund. We were on the counter-attack. We were on the front foot. It was almost like Dortmund was scared to come out and attack at one point in the early stages of the game. But we were on top of them. The crowd were on top of them. We looked like we were going to get that ball, and every time we got it forward, we looked like we were going to score. We looked like that we were going to score. And I think it helped us because I think, we knew that we had to take the game to Dortmund. We had to. We couldn't afford to sit back and allow Dortmund to dictate the game. We had to take it to them, and we had to try and get that early goal. And I think we did try and do that on a number of occasions. I thought we done really well. I think the injury to Brandt for Dortmund, I think that was a massive loss for them very early on in the game. They had to bring on, I think it was Reyes. I think they had to bring on Reina, sorry, not Reyes, Reina. They had to bring him on very early into the game. And I think that changed everything for them. Obviously, they were missing Coble and goal as well. And Adeyemi wasn't playing, a massive loss for them. I thought they lacked a lot of pace down that width, down that left side where Adeyemi potentially would have been playing. And then when Brandt went off as well, I thought it just changed everything for Dortmund. They were a lot slower in terms of transitioning the ball forward as well. But we were on the front foot. We were just so good. The link-up play between Kai Havertz, João Felix and Sterling was brilliant to see. Brilliant to see. I mean, there was an opportunity a couple of times, especially in the first half, and I know Sterling was offside, but I want to talk about Sterling because I feel that he got a lot of criticism at some point last night for his touch. He didn't have the best first touch. He was very rusty off the ball, and I think that's just coming with time with the team. And I think, some players do that. He was playing off the last defender for pretty much most of the game. And when you do that, you are going to find yourself offside a lot of the time because you're playing off the last defender. You're having to time your run properly. You're having to bend your run at times as well. And he obviously didn't execute that really well yesterday. That was clear to see. But when it mattered, Raheem Sterling was doing what he needed to do. He was closing down the defenders for Dortmund. He was making space for other players to run into. Yes, he was scuffing some of his shots. I mean, the goal, which we'll talk about in a minute, was a scuffed effort, but he was doing so much work. Kai Havertz as well. And, I've been heavily critical of Kai Havertz in the past and some of the things that he should have done and he hasn't done. But yesterday, he was just on form. He was so much... it's like a different player in the Champions League when you see Kai Havertz. And all of these players, they know when to turn up for games. And part of me is very frustrated by that because why can't we do that against Southampton? Why can't we do that when we play against Leeds or we play against whoever in the Premier League? We've proven that we can do this now. We proved it when we won 10 games on the bounce with Graham Potter when he first took charge. Why can't we carry on and play with this momentum going into the Premier League? That's very frustrating. But in terms of last night, the Champions League, like I said, Cucurella, Chilwell, that link up between on the two of them on the left side worked really well. And I think that, again, accommodated João Felix as well on that left side. Kai Havertz dropped very deep in the first half and especially in the second half as well. And it allowed João Felix, it allowed Sterling to push forward a bit more. It was almost like Kai Havertz was the player in between, closing down that gap in between the midfield and the attackers. And he was doing a lot of running, a lot of the leg work, a lot of making those runs and leaving a lot of space for Sterling and João Felix to run into. And it worked. It worked like a treat. Enzo Fernandez, Mateo Kovacic in midfield worked like a treat. It was just such a brilliant performance overall. And we have to credit Graham Potter because he is one of those managers that, as Chelsea fans, we've criticised time and time again. And even when I saw the lineup, like I said, I was very hesitant in terms of us getting 2 goals and getting a performance and not conceding, which was more so important than scoring the goals last night. But Graham Potter got it right. He got it right. I can't believe that I'm saying this, but he got it right. He got it spot on. And we'll talk about the subs in a minute as well, but he got it spot on last night. And we have to credit him for that. We criticise him when he gets things wrong, but last night he got it right in terms of the lineup, in terms of how we played, in terms of the fact that Chilwell and Reece James are actually getting forward. A lot of the time when you see Dortmund, they stop, they nullify your wingers or your wing backs trying to get forward and almost playing as a flat 5 at the back. Reece James and Chilwell normally pegged all the way back with the centre backs, but they were getting forward. Ben Chilwell looked amazing last night. The runs he was making, the first touch to take on a player, he's taking on the player, he's taking on Wolf. Him in that battle on that side for Wolf, for Dortmund was brilliant to see. And obviously it balled over at the end. But what a performance from Ben Chilwell. I do have to question, I agree now in hindsight, obviously playing Cucurella was the right option to play him as a left centre-back. But you do have to wonder about Trevor Chalobah, who is a recognised centre-back, and you're playing Cucurella above him. It kind of spells maybe a bit of trouble for Chalobah in terms of how much playing time is he actually going to get now at Chelsea with Badiashile, with Thiago Silva, Koulibaly, Wesley Fofana. And if you do play 3 at the back, it looks like Graham Potter was willing to utilise Cucurella, like I said, who has played there before in that role for Brighton as a centre-back. So you do have to question how much game time is Trevor Chalobah going to get. Does it mean he needs to leave? Does it mean he needs to go on loan? But it's a shame for Trevor Chalobah because he's one of those players for me that when, like I said in the preview video, when he plays, he doesn't actually put a foot wrong. And he's still learning as a centre-back, but I think he's got enough about him to start these kind of games. He could have started last night for me, but in hindsight, you know, it's a beautiful thing. Graham Potter got it right for me. But I do want to talk about Koulibaly for a minute because he got into some really good spaces off of a couple of free kicks and corners, and he had a good opportunity. And I think it was off a free kick. I can't remember who whipped the ball in, but it was harder for Koulibaly to miss. He almost assisted Dortmund. It was such an easy goal. It was literally a tap-in, a side foot tap-in, and I think that's what he's trying to do. He's trying to side foot it into the net, but somehow it kind of hits the back of his heel, the back of his foot, and it bounces away from the goal. And I saw that happen, and I thought, this is what we're going to be up for tonight. This is how we're going to go on with this game. We're not going to win this game. And then obviously we get the Sterling attempt where he's offside, and then I think Kai Havertz with a beautiful ball, beautiful shot, ricochets off the top of the crossbar. Now Sterling for me, as I said, you know, he's playing off the last defender. I think he does have to time those runs a little bit better. He does have to look and see where that line is and make sure that he's onside, because, you know, Kai Havertz put that ball away really well. It's a shame that it was offside because it was a really good goal, but the goal itself, I mean, you know, Sterling, I mean, he nearly scuffs it again. He scuffs the shot, the ball comes in. I think it's Chilwell that brings the ball in, and it's a beautiful ball into the box. And Sterling tries to take it first time, where I think he could have potentially just put his foot through it, and he scuffs the shot. And at that point, I think, yeah, we're definitely not going to win this game because, you know, we're scuffing shots. I think Havertz missed a decent shot in the first half as well, or the second half. And I think it was Emre Can closes him down. But when Sterling misses that shot, and I think, oh, this is going to be this is not going to be our night. But he redeems himself because he gets a bit of luck. He ricochets off his knee. I think I can't remember if it's Marco Reus or someone in front of him, but he ricochets off his knee and he puts his foot through that ball, top of the net, past the goalkeeper into the back of the net, and that's exactly what we needed. We needed that goal. We needed that early goal to go in, to give us a bit of momentum going into the game. But it was a brilliant one just before half time as well. You know, 43 minutes played, and Sterling does that, and you could see what it meant to Sterling. You could see what it meant to the players. You could see what it meant to Graham Potter and the fans that were there last night. You know, it just meant everything, and it gave everyone a bit of belief going in at half time, thinking we're 1-0 up. You know, it's 1-1 on aggregate now. We've got to go out and keep this momentum. And at half time, I did think, we're going to do what Chelsea have done of late and sit back or invite more pressure or allow Dortmund to come back into the game. And we didn't actually do that. We actually played like we wanted to win this game. And we came back out with the same conviction that we left at the first half, before half time. And we went on and we carried on with the momentum. We carried on. I do feel that we allowed Dortmund back into the game slightly in the second half. I thought that Bellingham was getting a lot more time on the ball. He was getting a lot more free roaming. You know, he almost plays as a free roaming player. 1 minute he's, you know, helping out the defence, and then the next minute he's up at the other end helping out the attackers. So I think we done what we needed to do. I think Sebastian Haller, if I'm not mistaken, didn't even have a shot on target or a shot off target in the game. But it was a brilliant performance from those defenders to keep them quiet, keep Haller quiet. You know, Jude Bellingham didn't really have a sniff at goal. I was surprised. I think the commentator said he hasn't scored in his last 10. I think I might have got that wrong, but I thought he was doing really well in the Bundesliga in terms of goals. But I'm pretty sure they said he hasn't scored in his last 10 games. But he was trying to make things happen. Emre Can was trying to make things happen. But as soon as we lost possession of the ball, we kept our shape. We kept our shape so well, and we didn't allow Dortmund any time to get that ball in the box. And when they did get it in the box, we had a Koulibaly in there, we had Ben Chilwell in there throwing their body at it, Reece James throwing their body at it, and it was just everyone was willing to put their life and everything. Like I said in the preview, everything on the pitch had to be left out there, and they did that last night. They made everyone proud of the club, made everyone proud of the team. The handball, let's talk about the handball, because I think it was harsh. Now, I see why it was given, because obviously it's handball. He can, I think it was Wolf, he has got time to move his hand out the way of the ball. But I do think it was slightly harsh in terms of the distance of where, I think it was Chilwell, the distance of how the ball's coming into him and how much time he's actually got to move his hands. I do think it was harsh. But at the same time as well, how many times have we been in that situation where, you know, we should be getting the penalty, or we've been, you know, the other team's been awarded a penalty because of us? I think back to the Reece James situation at Anfield a couple of seasons ago. So I do think, you know, with VAR, as soon as the ref goes to the monitor, 9 out of 10 times it's a penalty. So when the ref goes to the monitor, you know that we're going to get a penalty. Now, the penalty, obviously I was always nervous. I did speak about this in the preview about Kai Havertz taking penalties, and I don't know, man. I think Reece James for me would have been the one that I would have had as my designated penalty taker. But to give Kai Havertz credit, the first penalty was awful. Let's be honest. I know what he was trying to do. He was trying to scope out and do the Jorginho style penalty and wait for the goalkeeper to make his move. Ricochets off the post. It just doesn't go his way. But then obviously a lot of the Dortmund players were in the box before the penalty was taken, and Chelsea players. Let's have that right as well. There was a lot of penalty takers, a lot of Chelsea players in there when the penalty was being taken. But to get a second chance and to put it in the same spot that you just missed your first penalty, that was a lot of guts from Kai Havertz, and I was happy that he stuck to his guns. He stuck to the same position. He wanted to take the penalty in the same spot. Bluffed the goalkeeper. Goalkeeper thought he was going to go the other way, and he done well. You know, it's a brilliant penalty, and he capped off a really good night for Kai Havertz. I think, you know, like I said, in terms of the runs, in terms of what he was trying to do, the link-up play, leaving a lot of space, as I said, for the likes of João Felix to run into, and Raheem Sterling. You know, it was a really good performance from Kai Havertz, and that's the Kai Havertz that we need to see week in, week out. We need to see Kai Havertz doing that week in, week out for us in the Premier League, and obviously next season in the other competitions, and even in the Champions League now, the last 8. I mean, you know, who would have thought we would have been in the last 8 after the horrendous month that we've had, you know, January and February. But I want to talk about some of these subs, because there was a lot of questions, I think, amongst the fan base why João Felix came off so early into the game. I understood it, because we had to bring someone into that midfield. We had to take someone out of that front three in terms of Sterling, Havertz and João Felix. Obviously, João Felix, you could see, was pissed off that he was coming off. You could see that he was annoyed. He didn't want to come off, but I think it made sense. Now, people are saying that Graham Potter made that sub too early. For me personally, I think it was 67, maybe 65 minutes into the game when he makes that change. And I think, you know, he had to do that because Dortmund were pressing, they were pushing, and they were literally trying to get a goal. They were making sure that they had the possession of the ball. And if you notice as well, a lot of the time we were clearing our lines and the ball was coming back twice as fast. So we had to do something to try and minimise that in midfield. And I thought Conor Gallagher coming on, again, you don't know what Conor Gallagher you're going to get. Are you going to get the bull in the china shop Conor Gallagher, or the Conor Gallagher that's got his head screwed on a little bit and likes to get stuck in, but, you know, does it with a bit of purpose as well? And that was the Conor Gallagher that we got. You know, he came in, you know, he made some really good challenges. You know, he cut off a lot of the play for Dortmund as well. And he was the interceptor, like I like to call him, an interceptor at times. You know, he likes to get involved and stop the play from Dortmund, and he done that. And, you know, even some of the other subs, I think, you know, then Raheem Sterling came off for Loftus-Cheek, another one that made sense to me. It really did. I think at this point now, and I think I said it during the game, we have to just see this game out now. We don't need another goal, but we need to make sure that we're compact at the back, which we were with the 3 centre-backs and the 2 wing-backs. And then we had to make sure that we overpacked that midfield to stop Dortmund. Because Dortmund, as I said, they still had Bellingham, they still had Emre Can. I think Ozcan went off for them as well. And I think they brought on Bino Gittins, was the youngster that was coming on from who Dortmund signed from Manchester City. But they had to get a goal. They had to get a goal. So we had to stop that. And we had to overpack that midfield to stop that. And I thought that was exactly what we needed to do. You know, then Dennis Zakaria comes on, I think, as well, with Christian Pulisic. Sensible subs. Graham Potter got the sub spot on for me this game. You know, Dennis Zakaria coming in, again, a man that hasn't really played that much football, but he came on, he done the job, he just saw the game out. Control, composed on the ball, clearing the lines, done exactly what he needed to do. Pulisic as well, you know, the front three of Havertz and the two up front with Havertz and Pulisic, it just made sense. It made actual sense the way that we were playing the game, to just leave those two up top, pack out the midfield, and stop Dortmund from scoring. And that's exactly what we did. And tactically, Graham Potter got his spot on. He got his spot on, and we have to give him his credit for that. My only concern is, why can't we do this every week? Why can't we play like this every single week? Why can't we play with this atmosphere at Stamford Bridge? Why can't we play like this in the Premier League? Because we've proven that we can do it. And when it matters, I think we always turn up, and I always was confident we were going to win. I think I actually said 2-0, but I thought last night we were going to win that game just because we knew what was at stake. We knew that Graham Potter's job technically still was on the line, regardless of that Leeds result. It was still on the line. And we knew that we had to get something. We have to try and save this season somehow. And I think credit to Graham Potter, credit to those players, and credit to everyone that was at Stamford Bridge last night, because everyone done their job. Every single person done their job. Even Chilwell, getting up the back of Wolf and that sort of argy-bargy stuff. We need all that. We need horrible players on the pitch that will do that and get under people's skin. And the mentality side of things, that gets under people's skin. You could see that Bellingham was getting frustrated during the end of the game. He made a really dirty challenge on Reece James almost near the end of the game, I think in stoppage time. It's those kind of things you've got to do. You've got to get under these players' skin and get inside their heads and stop them from being able to play the game that they want to play. And we've done that. We've done that really well. Even Kepa, bit of shithousery, picking up a yellow card, but it had to be done. So I'm looking forward to the last date now. I'm looking forward to being in the quarterfinals. I'm looking forward to the draw to see who we can get. It's impressive. It's an impressive performance. I need to see more of that. We need to see more of that in the Premier League. Obviously, going into the quarterfinals now, the Champions League, it's going to be tough. Whoever we get is going to be tough. But I feel like in Europe, it's anyone's. It's knockout football. It's who wants it more on the night. We've got every chance of winning this trophy. I'm telling you, we can actually go all the way and win this. I really do think we've got the squad, and I said it in the preview. We've got the quality to go all the way and win this trophy for the third time. I really do think we can do it. So I want to see more of this in the Premier League. I need to see more of this. I'm not saying we're going to get Conference League football or even Champions League football, but I want to see this good performance that we saw last night. I want to see that in the Premier League. I want to get those sort of results in the league. And this is now, like I said in the previous videos, this is now the time for Graham Potter to work out who his best squad is. And I feel like he's doing that. I feel like he knows that he can trust Cucurella as a left centre-back. I feel like he knows he's solid 11. And this might be it from last night. That might be our solid 11 if we can get them playing right. If we can play like that at the weekends, personally for me, I wouldn't change anything in that squad now. I'd leave that squad there. I'd put the same squad out, and I wouldn't change anything. The only change you might need to start bringing in during games is N'Golo Kante when he's fully fit and he's on the bench to give him his minutes. But in terms of the starting lineup, that would be my starting lineup for the weekend because it worked. And you can't keep swapping and changing your squad. Yes, Mudryk will be hard done by because he hasn't really been playing. He hasn't played a game. Madueke will be the same. Chukwuemeka, Hall. But those players are going to be, they expect to be on the bench. They have to expect to go on the bench. If they're not performing, they have to stay on the bench. And at the moment, what I got to see last night, our best 11 is the best 11 that we had out there last night. Obviously without Thiago Silva, who's injured, but in terms of who's fit and who's available, that's the best 11. And that's the team we need to go with at the weekend, in my opinion. So let me know what your thoughts are. Give me all your thoughts in the comments, please. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit that link in the description as well. This has been T.Dot from the Shed End. Until next time, stay safe. Thank you very much for watching.